1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Man, y'all know what time it is. T-Law got the eyes of Lee Van Cleef when he go in that field.
Checks it down underneath. That's a crossing route to Christian Kirk. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Christian Kirk to the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
They made a major mistake when they made T-Law go to the spirit of the sky, to the oracle of the saber-toothed tiger, and the saber-toothed tiger now has the scepter in his hand, and he been to put every critic to rest. Man, last night I done marinated 2 turkeys. I got my cherry wood getting ready for my smoker. Just got off from work, off picture roll. I'm gonna bake me 2 Cornish hens. My special recipe, I call it a Mediterranean Cornish hen. I'm gonna top it off with my homemade Long Island iced tea. And I'm only gonna top it off with 1 red top of Coca-Cola. The Maxwell House coffee will live on forever. Duval!
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday to you. It's a holiday for the holidays, obviously. We've got July 4th coming up tomorrow. Hope you have an extended 4-day weekend. Perhaps, in either way, you'll have Tony Smith in this chair to inform and entertain you on Friday as your boy, Dylan.
Yeah?
It's getaway day. It's getaway day. You know,
Getaway steak?
It's getaway stay. Yeah, getaway staycation. But getaway day today, like this is it. I got to make it through till noon. I will power through. We got a great program, maybe the greatest program ever lined up for you. You don't know unless you listen, right? And you find out and you go, it probably wasn't the greatest of all time. But you have to listen and know that. That's the key on this. It got me thinking a little bit this morning about, when I was in grade school, like the last day of school, what would you do in the last day of school when you're in like 6th grade? Do you recall like 4th, 5th, 6th grade, something like that?
I remember like elementary school, we would just sit there and watch a movie or something.
Well, yeah, movie is good. We'd have a party sometimes, right?
You bring some cookies.
You'd have cupcakes or whatever. And if you're good, we'll have cupcakes and whatever the case may be. And then, I get it. Like if you're in college or you're really in high school and you really have finals and it's finals week, right? And those are pre-scheduled tests that you need to conclude your semester, whatever the case may be. But there was always that one teacher somewhere along the line that was like, I'm going to throw a pop quiz at you. I'm like, what are you doing?
I never had those, thank goodness.
Oh, my gosh. Are you serious? Oh, you're lucky, man. I don't know. I haven't been in school in a long time. So maybe times have changed as far as all that goes. But, I mean, the last day, I get it. It's the last day of school. It's still on the schedule. Okay, get your stuff done. Nobody's head is in the game at that point in time. So I will try to keep my head in the game today, knowing that I've got the next 11 days off. That's right. I'm off Friday and all of next week. I feel like looking at the schedule, there are a lot of 1010XL hosts and employees that are taking next week off. But it's a popular time because why? Well, there's nothing going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? And we don't do a show where we break down NBA free agency or any of the other things along the line. Occasionally we mention those things like now, but that's about the extent of it. So I got a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor that some we've touched on briefly, other stuff that we haven't. I'm talking about stories that have been written from a national perspective about your Jacksonville Jaguars, and we'll roll through some of those today, tie up some loose ends. But I got to say, Dylan, I barely made it into work today because that post-cookout nap was some serious business yesterday.
Man, I had to contain myself because I ate that burger at like 12:05, 12:10, and then JJ thankfully brought me some ribs. I said, I can't eat these ribs right now because I might not make it all the way through 2 o'clock. So I packaged up the ribs. I took them home. I ate them for dinner. But
JJ I also brought you ribs.
Yeah, you did
on
too.
top.
Yeah.
So you were like more and more and more food, and you had to sit there on the board for the next 2 hours.
All that burger did from Doom was just make me want to go to his tailgate before every game now. That burger was crazy, man.
Seriously, it was that good. We had a great time yesterday. Appreciate everybody who participated, all the listeners who participated, and the ones who expressed interest and all that kind of stuff. And it was awesome, man. I mean, it just got me, they do it for 200 to 300 people, and they don't charge. Like, if you just want to go up and get a burger, they'll give you a burger, right? But they do a Venmo. It's Two Dads Tailgate. So, think about that, Jaguar fans. And there are a lot of you out there that take care of your own. And I don't need to be telling you this, but, that if you've got the wherewithal, and you're getting a burger or whatever you're getting at, or whatever. And it's not just burgers, right? They've got a different menu based on the opposing team's cuisine. Like, if you're playing Kansas City, they're going to do some kind of barbecue, but they want to do it better than you would get in Kansas City. So whatever it is, whatever you think that's worth, why don't you double it and send them that money? Because they're putting a lot of time and effort into this whole situation. But it was great to see Doom. I'd never met Chef Jags before Chris. At least I don't think I'd met him in person. Maybe at a training camp practice, something along those lines. But really cool to see him. Got a nice little Twitter, social media community out there for the Jaguars. And I say little. It's not that little. It's going strong. It got me thinking, and I'm not going to complete this thought here, Dylan, today. It did get me thinking a little bit about the Mount Rushmore of Jaguars Today listeners, right? And contributors and things like that. And right off the bat, I'd have to split it into the domestic and the international divisions because I got a lot of friends I've made over the years covering the Jags from outside the continental United States. But Doom would be in there. There's no question. By even saying that, others are going, well, what about me? See, I got 3 that would be mortal locks for me right now, and I got a 4th in mind, and I don't even want to go down that road because, what about this person? You forget about this person. We love you all. We appreciate you all, and we do really appreciate when you give us that interaction with the program that we're looking for, trying to be that kind of a little bit of a team community sounding board, what have you. Today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. This is something we were talking about yesterday a little bit. Dylan, Tom McManus was talking about on his most recent podcast as well, which you can check out on the Jaguars Today YouTube channels. Go to 1010xl.com. I say the Jaguars Today YouTube, the 1010xl YouTube channels, 1010xl.com. There are all kinds of ways to find that kind of content. But we talked about this a little bit yesterday. And without getting into specific players that are out there, because I think there's probably, if you said right now, Jags had an injury at a position, and out of necessity, we got to go out and sign a veteran free agent, there's probably a guy that you could bring in right now and plug in and say, all right, you know what, it's not ideal, but this guy's been around the block a little bit. He's got some experience, and we could be worse off than this player right now. There's a surprising amount of, I don't want to say impact players, but high enough quality players that, maybe replacement level. Like, and by that means like there's kind of like your average starter out there. But beyond, forget the injury aspect, because that changes the dynamic with everything, right? You get a key injury at the wrong position, you're going to go out there and you may have to make a trade at some point to fill that spot. But today we're asking you, if the Jags were to add a veteran free agent before training camp, which position or position group would you most like to see them add to? And the ones we gave you as options in the poll are cornerback. We talked about that a little bit yesterday as Pro Football Network did a piece on a veteran free agent that every team, one for every team that they should consider bringing in. It was Adoree Jackson, the longtime NFL corner for the Jaguars. Edge rusher, you can never have enough, right? You could always use more pass rush. There's always an opportunity there, even though I saw a piece just recently about how Yasir Abdullah is one of the key wild cards for the Jaguars this season. I don't count on Yasir Abdullah for literally anything. Anything he gives the Jags, I think, is a bonus. And when you've got a 5th-round pick, and I get you can say, hey, look, eventually you got to draft and develop, and these guys have to make contributions, but he didn't make any contribution last year. And beyond the top 2 guys you had rushing the passer, there were opportunities for somebody to fill that niche and be that third guy and, more of a game day inactive than anything for Oehser Abdullah. So maybe your opinion is different about him. But regardless, next option is offensive line. And I put it that way because some people will say tackle, some people will say guard. I don't see, you've got your center. But there's a lot of question. Have the Jags done enough to fortify the offensive line to protect Trevor Lawrence, to move people around in short yardage, to get Travis Etienne back to that high yards per carry average that he had a couple of seasons ago? Or is there something else, some other position you think is a higher priority? And if that is the case, vote accordingly. But then, if you don't mind, reply with what you think that position is. I think those are the three main ones you'd be looking at. You got corner because you've got, an off-injured Ronald Darby, who's good when he's healthy, but then you've got a lot of youth behind him. Edge rusher, you got your top two guys. We don't know about Travis Gibson. And even with Travis Gibson, nothing wrong with having multiple guys who can get after the quarterback that you can run in there in waves and maybe give your guys a little few extra reps off from time to time and therefore make them more effective on the reps they are playing. Instead of playing 85% of the snaps for Trayvon Walker, maybe he plays 75%, and he's got that much more energy to go, pin the ears back and get crazy on 3rd and long. So you got corner, you got edge rush, you got offensive line, you got other. You can vote there if you'd like, and you can vote on social media at MD_1010XL. And don't forget to send good tidings to our man at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
Bacchus, where are you at on the Twitter follower count these days?
I think I just passed 600 not that long ago.
600? I feel like that is an embarrassingly low total. I was surprised Doom, who's as active as he is on Twitter, is like around the 4,000 threshold. People, you need to be following Denmark, all right?
615.
615? All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to tweet a little bit more here and there.
Yeah, I mean, but, you're part of the show, and occasionally there are going to be important things that come out and announcements that you can only get from the desk of Dylan Denmark, all right? But it's more not so that you're waiting on breaking news. It's that he's part of the fam, all right? We're this collective community. I've really been leaning into this whole community aspect of the whole social media Jaguars experience lately. And again, yesterday I thought it was fantastic. Sent out a tweet saying so. I mean, you got these guys coming in to cook for us, taking their time off, driving down from Georgia. They slayed it. They crushed it. They dominated. They obviously won the burger competition. They had the best single food item on the menu, period, yesterday. But they do it for up to 300 people every single Jaguar home game. That's community, man. That's a pretty cool thing without getting too Pollyanna-ish about things. So, that being said, let's get rolling here. I got a variety of Jaguar-related storylines that we'll touch on throughout the course of the next couple of hours. John Oehser will stop by, of course, as he typically does on Wednesdays in hour number 2. Dylan Denmark is here. I'm Mike Dempsey. 641-1010 gets you on the phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hop in the YouTube virtual studio if you want to watch the program. You're welcome to do that. Look in the tiny corner. That's Pockets Cam right down there in the corner. So check him out there. Fat Tony enjoying his staycation on assignment until Friday. It's getaway day today, but we're going to hit it hard. We're glad you're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss. Rick Ballou, the truth teller.
You're popular with the public, but I don't have to tell you, I don't have a lot of friends in high places.
Rick Ballou takes you into the night.
It means I got to do a little acting. I'm cool with that.
No acting.
Weeknights on 1010XL.
Lauren Brooks here to tell you that Mayport CNC Fisheries has Bottle Rocket Oysters to celebrate the 4th. These salty oysters will help you celebrate the right way. Restaurant owners, Mayport CNC Fisheries is your wholesale seafood go-to. Celebrate independence like a local from Mayport CNC Fisheries.
Dave and Ammon here with Zero Res. So Ammon, you have worked for Zero Res since you were 9 years old. What makes Zero Res the right choice for cleaning carpets and tile?
I can think of 3 simple reasons. We have the best process, the best people, and our promise to do the best cleaning possible every time.
So what deals does Zero Res offering for this month?
July is National Carpet Cleaning Month. So for home carpet cleaning, we're offering $49 per room. And for businesses, we're offering 20% off.
Sounds like a great time to get your carpets cleaned. Zero Res.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
What's more American than grilling out for the 4th of July? Check out southernsteerbutcher.com or our social media channels for all of our 4th of July specials running June 29th through July 7th.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL keeps you company with sports takes and local talk.
Well, then that's exactly what we'll do.
Saturday from noon to 2.
Got any ideas who this mystery man might be?
It's Compton and Company.
What if word about this gets out?
On 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate. Get the best guarantee in the window replacement business. Save money on your new windows and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
This is Hayes Carline here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish Revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I have exciting news from Leonard Truck Outfitters, now with 2 great locations to get that truck hooked up. Beach Boulevard just past Southside and one on Blanding. I got my truck taken care of, and you should too. Leonard Truck Outfitters, your truck, your style.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Pockets, have you reached deep into your pockets, and have you come up with something, another Jaguar-related trivia question to perhaps embarrass me?
This isn't Jaguar. This is NFL MVP. You want to do it right now?
Oh, I don't know. We were pondering it yesterday because you enjoyed we did who are the top 10 rushers all time in the AFC South, and I felt I got 7 of the 8 I should have gotten, and probably should have gotten Joseph Adai if I'd given it a little more thought. The last couple were a little bit more difficult, as the case may be. So what is this that you've cooked up today?
This is, can you name me the NFL MVP winners that have won it twice?
How many of them are there?
11.
2-time MVP award winners in the National Football League. Now, this is MVP because Defensive Player of the Year would not count, even though it's kind of the equivalent these days, correct, right? Yeah. Like J.J. Watt's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Pop quiz for Jaguars Today. Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Right. Brett Favre.
Yep.
Peyton Manning.
Yep.
Tom Brady.
Yep.
It's mostly going to be quarterbacks here, right?
I'll give you one, Patrick Mahomes.
How many non-quarterbacks are on this list?
1.
Emmett?
Negative. No. It is a running back, though.
It is a running back.
Got to go old school.
Old school. The run. Well, could be any number of guys. Jim Brown?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, so we're going way back. now? See, like, when do the MVP awards start?
A great question.
It is a great question. Thank you for pointing that out. Like,
1957.
57. Okay.
You have to go back that far for one guy, then everybody else is pretty.
Okay.
recent.
Did Bart Starr win multiple?
Negative.
Okay. Who's
before Bart Starr?
The Cleveland Browns quarterback.
No, it's Johnny Unitas.
Oh, it's Johnny U. Okay. Man, this would be one. If I just sat down and wrote down a list of names, I'd probably be better at this than doing it off the top of my head. How many are left? How many quarterbacks? Four, and they're okay.
They've all 3 have won a Super Bowl, and 1 has been good as an active player.
And 1 has been good, and he's an active player. You're saying?
Yeah, he's an active player.
Lamar.
Yes.
Yeah, Lamar just won his 2nd this year.
All right, now so you got the 3 Super Bowl winners.
Troy Aikman.
No.
Now he won Super Bowl MVP maybe a couple of times, but he did win 3 Super Bowls. He had to win. I'm getting now. Are all these multiple Super Bowl winners or one-time Super Bowl winners?
One guy's won multiple.
I just give them to me because this is going to drag out
Montana.
Too long. Okay.
Steve Young and Kurt Warner.
Yeah, Kurt Warner. Should have gotten that.
Kurt Warner's a tough one.
I rely on... Kurt Warner, honestly, shouldn't have been that tough. Didn't he win it back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken, right, with the greatest show on turf? And then because he got back to the Super Bowl with Arizona against Pittsburgh, maybe the greatest Super Bowl game ever played, in my opinion.
I think he won it 2 out of 3 years.
Right, but it was early. It was in that same era. It was like Warner, Falk, Warner, something like that. That's not a bad one, though. That's more of a, it just goes to show you what the quarterback position is like. Who was I thinking of, the Cleveland Browns quarterback from the 50s who won all the titles back in the day? Come on. Pockets, you were alive then, right? Cleveland Browns QB.
Otto Graham.
Otto Graham. I knew it's going to be like, as soon as you said it, he won like crazy amount of titles with the Browns, and nobody counts them because they weren't Super Bowls. It's kind of weird, right? And I mean, prior to that, you didn't have the AFL for most of that time. It's certainly not in the 50s. In the 60s, you did a little bit. Anyway, all right, good one to get us started here. I saw this piece today. Been really enjoying some of the stuff, and we pointed out some of the articles that have caught our eye over at Pro Football Network in the last week or so, and they've done a pretty nice job. And so I figured, all right, let me just see if they, because they put up so much in the last few days that it's going to be difficult to continue that string with some kind of Jaguar connection. But I found a piece that was up there that had a title that had nothing to do with the Jags, and yet the piece turned out to be basically everything to do with the Jags. I'll explain that coming up in a minute. All right, if you want to get in, talk about anything Jaguar football related, trying to get it more back to the on-field stuff after yesterday was more about, hey, let's just have a cookout around 1010XL and do our top 5 countdown. And that's the way it rolls from time to time in the dead zone, which we are in right now. And again, no news, good news for the most part when you're in the dead zone. Certainly don't want to be, you don't want to find out your safety has a 6-game PED suspension. to Sean Gibson, I guess a free agent right now, but a former Jaguar, having that come down yesterday among the more newsworthy items out there in a time when there's not a whole lot of newsworthy items. But 641-1010 gets you on board. The question of the day asking if you're going to add a veteran free agent, or if the Jags were going to, which position group do you want to see fortified the most? Is it corner? Is it offensive line? Is it edge rusher? And I know offensive line is multiple positions, but a position or a group, or is it something else that stands out to you that we're not addressing enough here in the dog days of summer? Let's get our man Darren up to start things off. Darren, good morning. You're on Jaguars Today. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Mike. Before I hit my question of the day, I do have to ask you, because I've never gotten involved in this, but you don't know, Jeff and Dan used to call me Darren the Baker. But I want to know from you, chicken or shrimp, my man?
Chicken or shrimp?
Yeah.
As a general...
Smoked and grilled.
I mean, as a general rule, shrimp is better than chicken. Like, I'll never turn down chicken. You know what I'm saying? I mean, chicken's like a staple food. If you don't like chicken, I think that's kind of weird if you're a meat eater.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to bring you some of my best of both. Okay.
Well, listen. When you do, make sure it's after next week because I'm gonna be gone for the next 11 days, brother.
Oh yeah. No, I'll do it before training camp starts.
Because Darren, this would just be my damn luck. You would bring in all this delicious food and for with me in mind, and that's fantastic. And then Tony and Pockets will be stuffing their guts, which is fine. They're deserving as well, and we'll all share together. But yes, sir. Shrimp over chicken, but who would argue against either one? I don't know.
I'm gonna get you hooked up. So here's the deal. In 2017, the Jaguars with a mediocre quarterback had this incredible pass rush. So I would bring in another pass rusher in that regards because you just can't have enough. And if somebody does go down, you need somebody else to fill that role. We definitely need to get after the quarterback. If you get after the quarterback, everything else takes care of itself. Enjoy the show, guys.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for thinking of us out there. Darren's a long-time, hardcore Jacksonville Jaguar fan, as we well know. And now I'm intrigued, Dylan, because I do remember, the drill has given out a lot of nicknames over time, as have we, right? But the baker, am I going to get a pie? A shrimp pie? I don't know. It depends really on what we're talking about here. But, man, how can you go wrong? You're a seafood guy, aren't you, Dylan?
Oh, yeah. I like me some seafood, man. I like me some good shrimp.
I mean, honestly, seafood may be the best food category out there. I love, oh, my gosh, nothing like good crab meat. Like good, not the cheap garbage stuff, but, man, I love seafood. Some people don't. And, look, I get it. If you're allergic, whatever the case may be. I think Hicken doesn't like seafood, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, Darren, did I mention I like shrimp? I like chicken. I also like filet mignon. It's just throwing it out there. I like ribs. I like burgers. I like it all, man. Carnivore. Totally carnivore. All right, so, look, you go back to 2017, Dylan, I'm going to have to dig up the Jags stat leaders from 2017. Shouldn't be that hard over at Pro Football Reference. And came up rather quickly here, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, if you look at that, my sense, obviously you had Calais Campbell having a defensive player of the year type season, right? Not always going to turn out to be that exact season, but that type season, I think he was runner-up for defensive player of the year with the 14.5 sacks. You had Josh Allen bursting onto the scene. You had other people, though, filling in, with, it seemed like a lot of 6-sack type people that you didn't always know where it was going to come from. And with the Jags right now, I said Josh, it wasn't Josh Allen in 2017. Who was the second leading sack guy for the Jags?
Unique Ngakoue.
It was Unique, right? Yeah, that's who it was. It was Unique, right? So you had two lead guys. Do you have the 2017 stats handy in front of you?
Yeah, I got the sack leaders right here in front of me.
All right, give me the 2017 sack totals, starting with Calais at the top.
All right, Calais with 14.5.
Okay.
Unique with 12.
Unique with 12. So you had two guys that were, similar to what you got production-wise last year out of the top two guys. All right, continue.
And then the next two, you got 8 apiece between Malik Jackson and Dante Fowler.
8 apiece, right? Two different guys with 8 apiece, right? That's a huge, where's that coming from this year? Even if Josh Allen and Trayvon replicate what they did, is Travis Gibson giving us 8? Is Eric Armstead giving us 8? Are any of these guys giving us 8? All right, so you had two guys at 8. What after that?
Then you only have one guy with 2 sacks, Miles Jack. And then everybody else had either a sack and a half or a sack.
All right, so you basically had 4 guys, though, with 8 or more, right? And you had two guys with a dozen or more. And then your next 2 guys that each had 8 sacks on this football team. Can Eric Armstead be one of those guys? Possibly, right? Because I do think it's this relationship where everybody feeds off everybody else, right? Where it's not just a net sum game of we're going to have X amount of sacks, and if you're getting 15, then I'm not going to be able to get that many. It feeds off of each other. You look what Philly did a couple of years ago. They had, 4 guys in double digits, and they had 70 sacks total. That's an unrealistic number, in my opinion, to set. But can Travis Gibson be, if you start there, if he can be a 6-sack guy, would that be acceptable? To me, it probably would, because I don't know. He's only had one really decent sack season as I can recall. I think he had 8 a couple of years ago. Can Eric Armstead be 6 or 8? Well, that'd be a boost over what he's done in recent years. But if you can get to that, and what Darren's talking about, you had a bad quarterback. You didn't always have the fourth quarter where you were in obvious pass rush situations with that Jacksonville team, right? And they were just that good that they imposed their will. And if Trevor Lawrence is even a shadow of what the Jags are paying him to be, it's going to be more efficient, certainly, than Blake Bortles. If your offense is doing its part and you're scoring, let's say, 25 points a game, somewhere in there, right? And look, I'll take 30, right? Who wouldn't? But let's say it's somewhere around 25. We had too many years in the low 20s. And then you're leading games in the fourth quarter, even if it's not because of your pass rush, because your defense is helping and playing better throughout the course of 60 minutes, you're going to get in obvious pass rush situations. When you're down 10 in the fourth quarter, you got to throw. Everybody knows it. And that means the defense can kind of, the old traditional, pin their ears back and come after him. So a vote there for pass rusher, which right now is probably the leading vote-getting position, I think, in today's poll. But it's not a runaway right now. So if you want to vote, go to @MD_1010XL on Twitter or X and let us know. Is it corner? Is it pass rush? Is it offensive line? Or is it something else if the Jags were going to go out and fortify a position with a veteran free agent where you'd like to see that addition get made? All right, so we'll get back to this piece or get into this piece that I just briefly mentioned. It was really a headline about Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins, but I read it and I see what they were talking about, and it's really, as it turns out, the headline's a little bit deceptive. It's really more about Doug Peterson and how he feels about his quarterback here in Jacksonville. We'll explain when we come back on the other side. Mike Dempsey and Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Standing proudly under the stars and stripes. Proud to live in America. 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
The following people are under the influence of no air conditioning.
Oh, man.
Is it ever hot? I can't get up. My legs are stuck to the chair.
Can guys go through menopause?
Why?
I think I'm having a hot flash.
Don't let no AC happen to you. Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning, available 24 hours a day, and they'll fix it right the first time. When your AC system needs a repair, it's time to call Duck Duck Air, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, a division of Duck Duck Rooter.
All right, gang, Hicken here. Let's talk skin. Me, myself, I am Beaches Dermatology. Want you to wear the sunscreen, man. It's summertime in the Sunshine State, which is great, but you got to wear the screen. You're going golfing, you're going out boating, you're going to the beach. 4th of July is almost here. When you're packing that bag for the festivities, bring the screen. And by the way, any concerns on your body right now, give Beaches Dermatology a call. I've been seeing them for years, and my skin thanks me for it. Call today online at beachesdermatology.com.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark tonight at 6:05. Don't miss our Independence Day celebration with the biggest fireworks show of the year and free patriotic hats to the first 2,000 fans. All presented by Nimnicht family of dealerships. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. That's JackShrimp.com. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
Get recruiting tips and advice from area coaches, pros, athletes, and their parents. Plus better ways to train as B3 bettors Jerry and Sanders and A.D. Robbins host the Amateur's Edge Show. Saturday from 11 to noon on 1010XL.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Soccer fans, don't miss your chance to see teams from the English Premier League compete in the Stateside Cup right here in Jacksonville. Competition will be fierce when Wolves and West Ham United take the pitch under the lights at Everbank Stadium July 27th. Right now until July 7th, get 25% off using promo code FIREWORKS. That's 25% off at statesidecup.com. Use promo code FIREWORKS till July 7th.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting. Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Mike Dempsey, Dylan Denmark here with you. Dylan, want to look this up, see if you can get me the 2017 NFL points per game leaders. You know what I'm talking about? Like team points per game leaders, like whatever team scored the most, 30 points a game, whatever the case may be, all the way down to 32, and I want to see where the Jags rank among that.
In 2017?
2017. You have it handy? Like, I'm one of those guys, like, I can think about it, and I can talk about something else, but when it comes to actually banging it out on the keyboard and keeping a train of thought, that's why I rely on guys like Dylan Denmark to pull me through here. So I need 2017 NFL team points per game leaders, so I know which teams were scoring what in 2017. Let me know when you lock that in. All right. Let's see here. Doom, Mr. Engagement now these days said, everyone's stepping up to the plate now. Everyone's, upset that they're getting so much credit for the burgers they cooked for us. They were delicious, man. I'm sure plenty of people put out plenty of great tailgate fare. But if you want to prove to us that your food is better, Dylan, Tony, and I will not argue. If you want to bring us big tray full of food, what do you got? Give me some numbers.
Number one was Philly with 29.
Okay.
28.9 was New England, the Patriots.
Okay.
Those two teams, I believe, played in the Super Bowl that year.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams were 3, 28.9.
Okay.
The Saints were 27.9.
Yeah.
The Steelers, 26.4.
All right, skip ahead. Where are the Jags?
And the Jags were 6.
6. And it was at how many points per game?
25.9.
And how many defensive scores did they have that year? It was double digits.
Yeah. Well, also, too, if you remember 2017, like that was the year a lot of quarterbacks got hurt. Like, remember the championship games were Blake Bortles, Tom Brady, Case Keenum, and Nick Foles. Because Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
Right, Carson Wentz got hurt.
Yeah, there was a lot of guys that got hurt that year.
I guess it was it Kirk Cousins in Minnesota at that time? Was he there at that time?
Maybe.
I think it must. I mean, I know Keenum wasn't the guy in that season. I remember interviewing him after the season because remember he hit that play to Stephon Diggs, right? That even got them that far. Who they beat? Was it the Saints or somebody? They hit that big play down the stretch, and they got to the championship game, and obviously Nick Foles led them. The reason I asked you, somebody on the text line, the 2017 was ranked 5th offensively in points. Don't disrespect the boat. But a decent amount of those points came on defense. But I don't recall that the Jags were just putting teams away to the point where it was just free-for-all pass rush in the fourth quarter. It was a solid offensive team, and they did score a good number of points, but again, it scored an abnormally large amount on defense, defensive touchdowns that year, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, just wanted to check and see if those numbers were kind of close and verifying, and they seem to have been. All right, let's get to this piece before I put it off any longer. All right, the title of this article over at Pro Football Network, what Miami Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel wishes he could say about Tua Tagovailoa, but can't. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Does he wish to say, well, he's really not as good? Like, what exactly is the gist of this story, right? And you and I were talking before the show, like, what are your thoughts on Tua? Well, I don't know what I would do if I was Miami because he put up terrific numbers last year, but he's in apparently a really good offensive system with fantastic playmakers around him. And, I mean, Devon Achane last year had just it's seemingly like a 50-yard play every week, right? Is that Tua doing that, or is that Miami really prioritizing speed and McDaniels prioritizing a system where he got guys basically in one-on-one type situations on the edge and we're able to take advantage of it? We're less than 2 years removed, I feel, Dylan, that we were talking about the next shot to the head could end Tua's career, right? So who knows? It's a problem I'm glad we don't have, quite frankly. Okay, so what this came down to was this was more about what Doug Peterson had to say yesterday in doing a little presser for the golf tournament coming up in Tahoe, and what he had to say about Trevor Lawrence, that you just can't say that about Tua because they haven't made that same commitment to him. So Doug Peterson, going to play in the American Century Golf Championship tournament, met on a Zoom with reporters yesterday. It was kind of a promotional call for the event and was asked, though, about the contract for Trevor Lawrence and just how everything went and what that means to an organization to have identified your guy and to have locked him in and to be on the same page to where there's no, like Tua is out there going, hey, the market's the market, right? So if he doesn't get that Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff size deal, he just feels, and next guy up, going to get that deal. And they make the case that if they had laid that in front of him, they think he would have signed it in a heartbeat. So that's pretty good evidence that they have not put that in front of him right now. Here are some quotes from Doug Peterson yesterday. Quote, obviously, the impact of Trevor long-term in Jacksonville, the face of the franchise quarterback, to get him locked up and secured for many, many years, I think it's a sign of the commitment from the organization, his side as well, meaning Trevor's representation and Trevor himself, that, you know, the team is in good hands from the quarterback position. We all know that to win in this league, Doug Peterson continued, you've got to have a quarterback, and we feel really good about that. Now, everyone's got to have a quarterback, right? That's how you play football. But I know what he's saying. You got to have a quarterback that you feel that if the other conditions are right, can lead you to a championship. And you can say, well, wait a minute, Mahomes' conditions aren't always right. Well, if your only standard is going to be the guy who currently is trying to run down Tom Brady in terms of Super Bowls, you're probably going to end up being disappointed, quite frankly. And every other team in the National Football League can say the same thing. So you're in the same boat, not to reference Blake Bortles again, but you're in the same boat with 30 other teams that are looking up at Kansas City. So He continues, we feel really good about that. I feel really good about that. He's our guy. We've just got to continue to work and put in the time to get better each and every season. And while Peterson never discussed Tua specifically, he did inadvertently point out how his quarterback handled any contract drama differently than what Tua has done this year. Quoting Doug Peterson again, what I saw from Trevor this offseason is how he approached it. He knew he was in a contract situation, but it didn't affect him. It didn't bother him. He came to work every single day. It's a voluntary program. He was there every single day. Keep it in mind, that's not been the case with Tua this offseason. And there's a lot of speculation about him withholding service during training camp this year. Continuing, leading our football team, Doug Peterson continues to say about Trevor, leading our franchise, that's what it takes. That's what it takes from your star quarterback, and he's done that. Look, I don't think, to me, the $50 million a year average, or however you want to look at it, right, the new money average, and I get it if you count the fourth year that he's going to be playing under, the fifth-year option that he's going to be playing under, the average is puffed up a little bit. Who cares, right? He got a deal. We were talking with Gibby earlier today, Dylan, and he talked about how LaShawn McCoy on yet another podcast just going in on Trevor out, how he doesn't deserve this deal, how he's not in the class of these other guys. Well, what class exactly are we talking about? Because most of these other guys have not had a whole lot of postseason success, right? Like Jalen Hurts got to the Super Bowl, maybe should have won it, but didn't, and it was a key turnover on his part that kept them from doing that. Bottom line, they didn't win it. Lamar Jackson's got 2 MVPs. He's 2-5 in the postseason. Josh Allen puts up ridiculous numbers, is yet to get to a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow came close, but he didn't win it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't rank some or maybe even all these quarterbacks ahead of Trevor Lawrence. The question is, what are you getting for your, we'll call it your $50 million investment, right, to make it easy? Because I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of, oh, it's really this, it's really that. It's a significant investment that some people look at and go, why does he deserve this? Well, to me, you have to identify, is our guy good enough? Not in the perfect set of circumstances. We're not talking about Brad Johnson winning it with the Tampa Bay Bucks with one of the all-time great defenses, right? Where he was a good quarterback, but he wasn't a great quarterback. We're not talking about Trent Dilfer winning it with the Baltimore Ravens. Do those things happen? Yeah. If you're making that your plan, that's not a very good plan. That's not a plan that's going to come to fruition more than once every decade and a half. And good luck to you. And if you're able to pull it off, fantastic. Matt Stafford put up crazy numbers in Detroit. Was he capable of winning it all? Had very little postseason success to show. And maybe that was the history of that franchise, never going to the postseason all that regularly. But he got in L.A., and the defense was there, and everything came together, and they were good enough to win a Super Bowl. Is Trevor Lawrence good enough in the right set of circumstances to win a Super Bowl? My answer is a resounding yes. I believe that. I believe Jared Goff is as well. Is Jared Goff better than Trevor Lawrence? Well, a couple of years ago, people looked at Jared Goff as a near bust. Remember that Super Bowl against the Patriots where he put up like 3 points, right? And that's what you're judged on ultimately. What do you do? And fair or not, what do you do in the postseason is the barometer of where you stand among the all-time greats, right? We talk about all those guys that won multiple MVP awards. How many of them were traded? Would Lamar Jackson trade in both those MVPs for a Super Bowl championship?
Not even close.
You don't think so?
No, yeah, he would. Like, not even a second thought.
I would hope so, right? Now, we all know everybody loves their own accolades and all that. So let's not be naive, right? There's cachet that comes with it. But I would hope that Lamar Jackson would say, I'll at least I'll give you one of my MVPs, and I'll never have another MVP-like season. I'll never throw for 3,000 yards, whatever. He's barely done that, right? Because he does it in a different way. I'm just using him as an example. I don't care about the stats all that much. I care about the fact that he's 2-5 in the postseason. Why does Dak not have a new contract with the Dallas Cowboys? Puts up ridiculous numbers in the regular season, right? But how often has Dallas failed in the postseason as the higher seed? It's one thing if you're in as the 4 seed and you're losing to the number 1 seed. Dallas has lost as the higher seed multiple times under Dak Prescott. And so Jerry Jones is going, well, all these fantasy football numbers that we put up, oh, that's great. It gets us to a certain point, but can we get over the hump with him?
You think McDaniels thinking the same thing about Tua? Like, I can only go a certain point. I mean, last year, it was the best opportunity for them to win the division. The Bills were 6-6 on the verge of potentially firing their coach. It was rumored. And they blew it, just like the Jags did in the month of December and the first week of January. Like, there's not going to be a better opportunity for them to win a division. And yes, the Dolphins had injuries on their defensive front, but that was the best opportunity for them to win the division, and they still couldn't get it done.
The best opportunity up to this point. Right?
That's true.
I mean, Buffalo's undergoing a lot of change this offseason. Who knows if Aaron Rodgers will stay healthy? New England's not a factor. So I think they're in the mix, right? Miami. I don't know if this is a Mike McDaniels decision, right? This is there's input. I don't think you, as Trent Baalke, are giving out this contract to Trevor Lawrence if there was some kind of internal division on whether or not Trevor can be the guy here in Jacksonville. And when I say the guy, he is the guy. But a championship caliber guy. And again, the conditions have to be right. It's not excuse making that when Patrick Mahomes lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, what does everybody talk about? His offensive line, right? His offensive line couldn't protect him. But it's Patrick Mahomes. It's Patrick Mahomes. You can't use this as an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's a reality sometimes. You just don't have the assist from whatever. You just don't have enough to make it through healthy. That's a huge thing. The Jags right now, if they weren't going to commit to Trevor Lawrence, where would they be going with this organization, right? They've tried to improve the offensive line. Have they done enough? We don't know. But they certainly filled what we felt was the biggest question mark at center this offseason. I think you've got an interesting array of skill position guys. For me, Evan Ingram's a top 10 pass-catching tight end in the National Football League. Christian Kirk, in terms of slot receiver, probably a top 10 guy, not an overall receiver. Are Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas, along with that, enough? We'll find out. But I don't think it's a bad receiving core. Travis Etienne has shown he can be a really good player, a really good running back, one of the better ones in the National Football League, borderline top 10 himself. Defensively, you add Eric Armstead. You hope Devon Hamilton is back healthy this year. You hope that Trayvon Walker continues his ascension. You hope that Trevis Gibson is that guy off the bench that can give you that 8 sacks this year, like we talked about in 2017, where you had a pair of guys doing that. You reinvested in Foye Oluokun because of how good he's been. Maybe Ryan Nielsen's defense unlocks Devin Lloyd this year. Have you done enough in the secondary? There's a lot of reasons to me to look at this team and say, there's no reason they can't be competitive week in, week out. And if you're that and you get some luck on the health front, because you have to have it. Trevor Lawrence, as good as he was, got banged up. Even if he doesn't get banged up, if he's without Zay Jones and Christian Kirk for extended periods last year, is he able to overcome that? If he was without Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk for half the season this year, do the Jags have an answer for that? Everyone's glossing up Parker Washington. Maybe he'll do a fine job coming out of the slot. What do they have at tight end that could replace Evan Ingram? But you would ask that, hey, what does Kansas City have if Travis Kelce got hurt? So you got to have some luck in that regard, or good fortune, however you want to look at it. The bottom line, Miami can't say this about the quarterback because they haven't committed to him. And that's the thing. That's the one. There's no question in Jacksonville that they believe that, given a few breaks along the way, you got to make your breaks sometimes too, that Trevor Lawrence is good enough and capable enough to get on a roll in the postseason with the group that he has and win it all. I think they could win it all this year. Does that mean I expect them to win it all this year? No. But if you were to list all the teams that could, without talking about something crazy happening, like everybody in your division has crippling injuries, I'm just talking about good enough to win your division. If you're good enough to win your division, get a home playoff game, you're expected to win that. So you advance in the playoffs to round 2. If you're good enough to get to the divisional round of the playoffs, man, there are not many of those teams that with a break here or there shouldn't look at themselves and say, we can't win the big one. So that's what $50 million a year is buying you. It's buying you the opportunity to continue to build around a guy that, if the conditions are right, he doesn't have to be a top 5 quarterback. You know what he needs to be? He needs to be a top 5 quarterback for that year's postseason, right? Or maybe a top 3 quarterback for that year's postseason. Is he capable of doing that? Well, look at the numbers. before Trevor got really banged up last year in the Cincinnati game, the 17-game sample size going back to 2022. I think he's shown that he can do that. Now he's got to show that, not just at a randomly selected 17 games from this year into the next year. Start in week 1, carry it through. You're allowed to have a bad game here or there. Mahomes had some bad games last year. But when you get to the postseason, you can't be the reason why your team is not winning football games. You can't be turning it over at an egregious level. You've got to be able to, at times, put your team on your back. I think Trevor can do that. He did that. Look, he dug them the hole, but he also helped climb out of it against the Chargers a couple of years ago. Not everybody out there has a quarterback with that ability to be down that big to say, hey, we believe in this guy. We can get the job done. That's what the Jaguars' commitment to Trevor Lawrence says to me. Miami, hey, that's in your court, man. Green Bay, is Jordan Love going to get a new deal before the season? Not our problem. I do. And again, if you didn't believe in Trevor Lawrence and you let it play out over the next couple of years, either you're going to be on the hook for some ridiculous kind of number salary-wise at that point because it's only going to go up, and you also you lose that opportunity to be just so team-focused because then it becomes for the next 2 years. Will they? Won't they? Will they? Won't they? Just like Miami's been talking about all offseason. Will they or won't they with Tua Tagovailoa? There's something to be said for committing to your guy. Is he the best? No. Hasn't earned that. Is he good enough to get to where you want to go? I believe it. Jags believe it. I'm sure Trevor, in his heart of hearts, believes it. And I think his teammates believe it as well. So let Miami's problem be Miami's problem. But another interesting piece out there, I thought today from Pro Football Network with some positives for the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though you have to look past the headline to get there. So Doug Peterson just basically talking about what peace of mind comes when you know you've identified your guy, and now it's a case of, hey, we're not done, by the way. This is, by the way, not as good as Trevor Lawrence is going to be or can be. 24 years old, 25 in October. When do you peak as a quarterback? 29, 30, 31, 32 in today's NFL? Got a lot out in front of you that you can still attain, get better. Do I think Trevor will put in the work? I do. Will it pay off in a championship? I can't guarantee that. I can't know that. But I certainly think the Jags are among those teams that has a legitimate dice roll to start the season, that if a couple of things break their way, not crazy, they can find themselves contending for a championship for the next, right now, looking forward, 5 to 7 years at a minimum. And, I believe that the way this went down, that when Trevor Lawrence is about 28, 29 years old, he's going to get another contract extension. Those last 2 years on this deal will probably disappear. And now we're talking about a lifetime Jaguar or close to it at that point in time. Who knows? Maybe he'll have one by that point. But if the Jags keep doing the right thing salary cap-wise, managing it where they can continue to put talent around him, no reason why he can't be in that conversation on an annual basis of guys that can get you to the promised land. All right, Johnny O going to join us here in studio coming up for hour number 2 from Jaguars.com. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey and Dylan Denmark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss. Achieving greatness in sports radio.
Now, this is going to be the hardest, most difficult thing you ever attempted in your entire life. But you know what? When it's over,
get emotional.
1010XL.
You guys are going to be champions.
Champions.
Where winners listen.
Champions.
It's time to fire up your grill, shoot off some fireworks, and launch one of the biggest sales in the history of the United States. It's our independent sale happening right now at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet. Whether you drive a car, a truck, or an EV, everyone is welcome to celebrate our independent sale with the lowest prices, largest inventory, and the most love for our country. Come celebrate with Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. You don't want to miss this.
Hacker here with Matt Hayes. Look, we needed to update this spot again. Why? Because I just cannot stop losing weight with Awaken 180. Now I'm down a staggering 75 pounds in just 15 weeks. Do the math. That's 5 pounds a week, every single week.
Attaboy, Hacker. It's tough keeping track of you, but seeing your Awaken 180 transformation is shocking. In a good way. You've dropped the weight of a 7th grader in just 3 months. We're all proud of you, but really, we aren't surprised with your results.
Thanks, man. And like you had told me, I'm doing it without the gym and without meds, just fantastic food and expert coaching. I'm not just losing weight, I'm becoming a new man, and it's all thanks to Awaken 180.
And the success isn't just for us. Everyone who jumps on board sees results. It's 100% effective across the board, from family and friends to our listeners who've taken the plunge.
Don't wait. Awaken180weightloss.com.
RJ Saunders here, sports lovers. I recently took a tip from Frank Frangie when I needed to send flowers to my mother. Frank told me that Kuhn Flowers is the only florist he ever uses. So that's what I do now. I use Kuhn Flowers. Find them online at kuhnflowers.com.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I-9 Sports is fired up for their summer flag football tournament series, so make sure your team is part of the action. It's all happening in June and July at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows at their brand new turf facility. Register as a team and join the fun at i9sports.com.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by Southern Oak Insurance. Former Jag Pro Bowl defensive lineman Malik Jackson shared his thoughts on DL Trayvon Walker.
Now, he's just a beast coming off the edge. You know, it's one of those things I think with him and his size, you know, he's a little deceptive. You wouldn't think he's that fast. And he knows what he's doing, and he's confident in himself.
FSU Board of Trustee Chair Peter Collins commented on how leaving the ACC wasn't an impulse decision.
This effort didn't start from the snub, and we had been working on this in earnest for a while. You just don't put a complaint like that together in 2 weeks.
Jacksonville Jaguar pass rushing duo of Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker are working to get better ahead of training camp. Both Allen and Walker were attendees of SAC Summit, the annual pass rushing camp held in Las Vegas. That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 11:02, it's 87 degrees. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Oehser. Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
On 1010XL.
You want to find the definition of the NFL dead zone? Read yesterday's Ozone mailbag. I did. There was not a whole lot of actual football in there, was there?
No, this time of year you'll have days where that's the case. And,
that's all right.
Yeah,
like yesterday, all we did was talk about cooking out and grilling out for July 4th, and we ate a bunch of food, and that was our show. So.
Right, and but it was good. Doom came down.
Doom came down. Chef Jags, they crushed it. I can't say enough good things about them. They do the Two Dads tailgate with the BCB and the the slab. They're
right.
As he said, we're like the second row now. He goes, we're too old. We can't run with that crew.
Right.
We're not out there circling up like
they're aging out.
Yeah, they're aging out.
Right.
But he gets out there at 7 a.m.
And a lot of Jag fans do this, right? That's the beauty. That's the environment you want to foster.
Sure.
Is having that 5 hours of tailgating, 6 hours of tailgating leading up into kickoff to where you're almost too exhausted to watch the game, but now it's time to go watch the game.
Watch the game.
Right? And I want to highlight here quickly because Dylan Denmark here was talking about taking in some of the Two Dads Tailgates offerings this season, right? And what they'll do is they'll take whoever you're playing, whatever they think the cuisine is in that city.
Mayonnaise.
And it could be mayo, although mayo is absolutely off the menu, as you'll see here, because they're going to do Nashville hot chicken when they play the Titans, but mayo not included.
Okay.
Because who would, that's on that week, you kind of got to step aside. I'll give you the city. You tell me what you think the cuisine is. Okay? Pop quiz. Another pop quiz here, Dylan. Week 2 versus Cleveland. What is Cleveland known for? Pop quiz.
You got me on that one.
All right. Corned beef sandwiches and bratwurst.
Okay.
All right. They did specify massages not available, right? Because you got to wonder with the quarterback. That makes sense. This should be right up your alley. If you don't get this,
I have an alley.
Who will not get this? All right. And it's not shrimp cocktail from whatever the place is in Indianapolis. What are we serving?
They would say steak, but
steak.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Fried pork tenderloin sandwiches and chicken and waffles. Those big on the cuisine hit list in Indy?
I don't know that I would say chicken and waffles is any bigger there than it is here.
But it's good.
But it's great.
Bro, chicken and waffles is amazing.
Yeah, it's I mean, I can tell you this. I haven't had any better. I certainly didn't have any better in Indy than I have here.
I gotcha.
Metro. Or
right.
places.
It's not right. It's not known. Right. It's not.
I've had it at Metro probably more, but I know many places do it great.
If you were playing against Cincinnati, you'd say Skyline Chili, even though that's disgusting, right? You could just do a better version of chili.
I had one cup way back when, and I was like, what are we doing?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's like tomato sauce, right?
Yeah.
It's just like so runny and don't like it. Green Bay Packers.
I would say brats.
I would say brats too, but they're going with the largest cheese and charcuterie board that you've ever seen.
That's pretty good.
Bring your own wine glass. So that's fine.
You can never go wrong with brats, though.
Right,
you can do brats in every city.
But Green Bay specifically,
yeah, Chicago,
I would think,
Green Bay.
Yeah, something like that. I would think the same thing. All right,
I
Minnesota.
think of a big hunk of beef.
Big hunk of beef.
Yeah, I mean,
they do something up there that is like all that whole area is big on the cheese curds, but that's not like a tailgate
Wisconsin's
staple.
Huge on it, obviously. That's the thing.
Because you got the Nordic connection, right? The Minnesota Vikings, Swedish meatballs.
That's pretty good.
And porchetta sandwiches. I said, Dylan, you ever have a Swedish meatball? He goes, no, I like American meatballs. That's what he told me today. So
that's Dylan.
Dylan. He's an American.
He's only have the American kind.
July 4th is coming up. How dare you suggest Swedish meatballs to me? Week 13, Houston.
Tex-Mex?
Right. Carnitas.
Yeah.
Right. Brisket taco. Oh, right. Tex-Mex. That's
a fair, I mean, the Mexican food's there.
That's huge.
It's great.
There.
Yeah,
right. It is really good. Jets. New York.
Anything,
it's pretty good because but if you think about it, it's Little Italy meets Chinatown. That's pretty good. Like, New York is known for fantastic Chinese food. Yeah. Obviously, they're doing flatbread pizzas, lo mein, General Tso's chicken. How do you say it? General Tso? General Tsao? Everybody says it different.
I say Tsao.
General Junior Tsao's chicken is what it is.
I say it wrong.
In my house, we just say General Chicken.
Okay, yeah.
Same thing, right? There are all manner of varieties of that. And then versus the Titans, it's Duval hot chicken sandwiches instead of Nashville hot chicken sandwiches, but mayo not available. I guess bring your own if you want to. But if you're bringing your own mayo to something, that kind of outs you as a Titans fan, I would think.
Or jump in a vat of it.
Yeah, or whatever, right? Or just,
That's good. I mean, that's
whatever Will Levis does, just brushes his teeth with it.
It
is good.
Yeah,
that's a lot of effort put into.
Now I'm assuming if people were coming here, you'd identify Jacksonville barbecue.
We talked about that. Would it be seafood? It'd be barbecue. It's tough, right? We talked about this last week. What were some of the suggestions we got?
It's sort of.
But there's a lot of fresh seafood right here in Jacksonville, right?
It's great, but is it more known?
It's not like Maryland crab cakes, certainly, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
The Ravens used to serve halftime crab cakes that were
amazing.
It was.
I would bet
the best press box food.
I don't think I've ever been to a Ravens game.
Yeah, they don't do it anymore because it was chaotic at halftime.
Too much. You know,
they did at halftime. And
who's the current best media food in the National Football League, in your opinion? I've been to. I counted. I think I've been to 20 different NFL stadiums for games, and there's a clear leader, in my opinion.
To me, Houston does a really nice job. I'm just thinking of places we go. Indy and Tennessee are okay. New York always does a good job.
You think Tennessee's okay? I think Tennessee is horrific.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that because it's the Titans thing.
Right.
Like, they serve breakfast at, like, noon.
Yeah.
And it's not good. It's like runny egg.
Yeah.
I don't know. Breakfast anytime is fine, by the way. I don't mind it 3 in the afternoon.
A lot of places have really good ones. I don't know if anything. Tampa's really good.
That's the one.
Yeah,
because they got the Culinary Institute.
Yeah.
And they bring in the
Tampa's
students
really
at the Culinary Institute, and they will literally, like, you'll go in there and, like, you know, typical halftime. Like, your pregame meal, different, a little bit more intensive. You know, you get there a few hours ahead of time. It's a hot meal, whatever the case may be. Halftime, you know, maybe hot dogs. You go to Philly, you get soft pretzels, whatever. Right? And that's fine. You go to Tampa, and at halftime, they got like a roast beef carving station
Tampa's really
going
good.
on. Yeah.
Tampa and Houston. Houston's always really good. I mean, they do a nice job with their food.
Miami known for the ice cream machine, the soft serve.
Is it? Okay.
For anytime I went to a Dolphins game, that was always like I can't remember anything that I was served food wise other than they had that soft serve ice cream.
The only
with
thing
all the
that stands
fixings.
out to me about Miami, and this is not their fault.
Too far south?
Well, too far. The line on the press box food is always like almost to the point where you can't.
Well, it's a tiny little
press box,
spot.
And it's a tough setup. It's not the people who run at fault.
Here we are complaining about the free food we get.
No,
and it's not. It's more just like, you know, it's interesting to see. Yeah. Like, you know, you go here, you go there. It's, you know, kind of a staple.
I think the only people who complained was you about Tennessee.
Tennessee has trash food. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, for a number of years, the Jags served those hot dogs at halftime that were like, is that the natural color of a hot dog? Right? There were some struggles, right? But Tennessee, to me, was always below them. And it wasn't a rivalry type thing. I just never a big fan. So
yeah, food this year should be good.
Look. First of all, we're down in the radio studio. Right. I'm not even up in the press box. I haven't seen a press box hot dog or anything else for the Jags in the last decade, and that's fine. You know, it just is what it is. It's just one of those little asides. But Tampa. The other thing about Tampa, they have a rack with like name brand candy bars. Like it'll be like. If you want to take 50 Reese's cups, go ahead. Don't be a pig, but maybe 40. Right? I mean, you can just like.
I'm not going to say I've done that.
I am going to say I've done not 40. I've gone. You know, I got that Jaguars backpack that is hanging on by a thread right now, and coming back from Tampa, it's been weighed down by a good amount of candy, enough to like do a small school fundraiser with that kind of thing,
or sell it on the street and make a little money.
Whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing with the school fundraiser.
Right.
By the way. Again, total aside, when is the last time a kid had a school fundraiser that kid actually was compelled to go out there and raise those funds, other than having their parents stand there outside of Publix going, hey, will you donate to my kids, whatever? Seems like that's been the mode for a long time, right?
Just write a check.
When I was in the Cub Scouts, man, they may still do this. We got this. You ever in the Cub Scouts?
I was not.
Okay. They had this big, like, suitcase of bunch of claptrap that nobody really wanted. But you had to carry it around your neighborhood, and like you were a door-to-door salesman, and you'd go to the neighbor and go like, hey, can I interest you in this? And
was it like vacuum attachments?
It was not that. I honestly can't remember.
Fuller brush kid.
It was something like that. Like I'm sure that it was like a shoehorn was probably in there. You know, like things that you could use, but you're not really looking for someone to come to your door and offer them to you.
Oh, great.
But,
I was thinking I needed a shoehorn.
Right, exactly. I probably could use a shoehorn. And I was like 8 years old. My mom would be like, I didn't join the Cub Scouts. Get out there and sell. So anyway, all right, we'll come back. Let's get it to I got a couple of pieces I want to look at with you, including kind of where the Jags' overall projected lineup ranks and compares to some of the better teams in the National Football League, and see if you agree with some of the assessments that are out there. If you want to get in, talk Jags football in the final 40 minutes or so, 641-1010 on the phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, or hit us up in the YouTube virtual studio chat as well, or on social media at MD_1010XL, where you can vote on today's poll question. If the Jags were to add a veteran free agent before training camp, which position would you like to see fortified the most? Is it corner? Is it offensive line? Is it edge rusher? Or is it something else? We'll talk about that with Johnny O going forward here as well. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Yeah.
Is everything okay? We heard an awful ruckus.
No, everything's fine here. Yeah, it's great.
So you're fine?
Mornings.
Yeah, couldn't be better.
On 1010XL.
The humidity may be rising, but the prices are dropping at Beard's Diamonds.
It's Christmas in July. Everything store-wide is on sale up to an unbelievable 40% off.
Don't shop anywhere until you shop Beard's Diamonds.
At the St. John's Town Center.
The Sunshine State says it all in the nickname. That summer sun in Florida can take its toll on an air conditioning unit and send your electric bill through the roof. Florida Home AC can help you handle the heat with a brand new AC unit with low monthly payments and over $3,000 in federal tax credits on select systems. So this summer, don't sweat it out. Cool off with Florida Home AC, the official AC company of the Jaguars. Call them today, 777-4300, and check out their tremendous savings on a brand new AC system.
If you're ready to upgrade your home's backyard living appeal and just need some design inspiration, let the experts at Art of Natural Stone make your outdoor living perfect. Known for summer kitchens, gazebos, pavers, patios, and pool decks using all natural stone. All the custom elements you need for a first-class professional design, and they do installation. Open to the public on Phillips Highway and on Beach Boulevard. Find ideas online at artofnaturalstone.com.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Expert Automotive is ready to keep you cool this summer. Right now, get an AC inspection or a system cooling checkup. Your choice for only $19.99. Their gift to you this summer is $50 off any service and a free tire rotation with any service. Their ASE certified technicians can keep your car cool without breaking the bank this summer. Call them at 374-3373 to get an appointment today. Expert Automotive. They never sell greed, only what you need.
It's all about the beautiful game. The Sporting Jax Soccer Hour. From national teams to youth soccer on the First Coast. Join Cole Pepper, Mauricio Ruiz, and Becky Burley for Soccer Talk. Monday evenings on 10:10 a.m.
All right, gang, Hicken here. Let's talk skin. Me, myself, I am Beaches Dermatology. Want you to wear the sunscreen, man. It's summertime in the Sunshine State, which is great, but you got to wear the screen. You're going golfing, you're going out boating, you're going to the beach. 4th of July is almost here. When you're packing that bag for the festivities, bring the screen. By the way, any concerns on your body right now, give Beaches Dermatology a call. I've been seeing them for years, and my skin thanks me for it. Call today online at beachesdermatology.com.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's, well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
Wednesday is Free Friday at 1010XL's Restaurant of the Day, John Smith Subs. Experience the thrill of the grill and get free fries with any sandwich purchase all day today. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs on Hodges at JTB.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Soccer fans, don't miss your chance to see teams from the English Premier League compete in the Stateside Cup right here in Jacksonville. Competition will be fierce when Wolves and West Ham United take the pitch under the lights at Everbank Stadium July 27th. Right now until July 7th, get 25% off using promo code FIREWORKS. That's 25% off at statesidecup.com. Use promo code FIREWORKS till July 7th.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Oh No's
with Jaguars.com's John Oehser.
Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL.
Hey, Dylan, how's your technology working in there right now? Everything good?
It has been.
Okay. Just checking. I think they're trying to test me as I'm a short timer now, inside 35 minutes till we wrap this bad boy up and vacation is looming. But
yeah, mine's working.
It was one of those click the link, screen goes black, and then eventually it pops back up, whatever the case. If we can't get through the next 35 minutes with Johnny O here, we're not doing it right. Today's question of the day, if the Jags were to add a veteran free agent before training camp, which position or position group would you most like to see them add to? The options we gave you are cornerback, edge rusher, offensive line, or other. And if you pick other, please specify which position that might be. So, John, I'm looking at some of these rankings of, Jags projected starting lineup compared to whomever. First of all, like ESPN did one recently, and they list like 12 starters on each side of the ball, which is weird to me. Like, why do you need an extra tight end on offense? But how do you feel? Like, we focused a lot this offseason about Trevor Lawrence got his deal done. Josh Allen got his deal done. They've made some additions. Is this a roster, in your opinion, that with a few breaks, because I do believe you need them in the postseason, is A, good enough to win the South, and then if they get there, is good enough to get on a run in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good enough to win the South. My only concern, I've voiced it many times, it's a little bit older in some spots, which concerns you about getting through healthy, meaning sign Mitch Morse, sign Eric Armstead. Those two guys are 10-year veterans. Darby's a 10-year veteran.
But they've been generally pretty healthy, the first two.
A 10-year veteran, yes. And there's a risk with anything. So I always sort of couch it with this team if it stays healthy, which is every team. Absolutely, it could win the South. It was a play away from doing it last year,
right?
And I think they win it by a game or two without injuries. So do I think it's gonna be easy? No. Do I think if if a break goes their way, can they be in the playoffs as AFC South champions? Yeah. Can they get all the way with a break or two?
It's tough, right? I mean, look,
but
you look at all these great quarterbacks out there that are not advancing in the playoffs.
Right.
Only one team's going to win it all.
It's sort of shaped up like we thought a couple of years ago, and I think there's some truth to this, that there were a bunch of quarterbacks in the AFC. Well, there are a bunch of quarterbacks in the AFC, but there's one who's really above.
Yeah.
And he's shown it. So,
but even he, when his offensive line failed him, couldn't get it done on the biggest stage.
Yeah. I mean, it's,
didn't get it done that year.
Until somebody beats Mahomes right now, he's the favorite. At the end of this year, we might be sitting there saying, well, Burrow's made 2 of the last 4. He's the guy,
Right.
That can all change within a year. But we talked before the break about Trevor a little bit. I think with Trevor, with this team and with this quarterback, if you're healthy going in with the right matchup, there's nobody you can't beat, with the possible exception of Kansas City because they've never done that, this bunch.
What position group worries you the most right now? I'm not talking about age. Let's presume everybody stays healthy for the most part, okay? A reasonably healthy season. Where do they need the depth added, in your opinion, or where would you like to see it added?
What I don't know yet because we haven't seen it is how this corner position is going to look.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say I'm worried about it because I think Jarian Jones looks really good, and Darby, if those 3 guys are, again, all healthy, that looks like a good group. But we haven't seen anybody in that group play at a high level for this team since 2022, meaning Tyson struggled last year because of injuries. So that feels like you want to see it before you trust it.
A lot of hope.
Well,
that's part of it, though.
The hope's reasonable because you've seen Tyson do it. You like Jarian. You have to put
Ronald Darby's been an excellent man cover guy when he's healthy.
Right. So those are the I think they've done a nice job of filling the needs in the offseason where there's no clear answer to the question you asked. But I would say corner because I want to see this group sort of do it together.
We went back, Dylan and I were looking at 2017, Saxonville, right? You had Calais with the 14.5. You had Jan with 12. Both Dante Fowler and Malik Jackson had 8 apiece.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah.
Right. So, but you're talking about, the top 2 guys, pretty comparable to what Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker gave you, but there was nothing in between. Like the next guy, like the 5th guy on the list, I think Dylan said Miles Jack had like 2. Well, that was kind of where the 3rd guy on the list was last year, basically. So where does that come from this year? Is it Trevis Gibson? Is it the addition of Eric Armstead opening up things with his penetration, making life easier for other people? Is it more attention paid to Josh Allen? Do they have enough personnel-wise there?
They sure believe that Devon Hamilton returning to what he was at the end of 22 with the addition of Armstead and with Gibson, that those 3 spots, if you compare those 3 spots to whatever you thought your 3 through 5 were last year, that there's a significant, are any of those guys 10 sack guys? Maybe not. Are there 5.55, 5.57, that kind of number? Or even without that number, is there pressure? Is there disruption? Do other teams have to worry about them? I think when healthy, other teams have to worry about Armstead and Devon Hamilton, and they have to worry about Allen and Walker. So that gives you 4 that you have to worry about. Last year, realistically, you had 2 you had to worry about, and that's a significant difference. Not so much numbers, but how teams game plan you.
Well, you could even look at it as a major positive, the fact that teams knew you had 2 guys, and they certainly didn't stop Josh Allen.
Right.
I mean, all around. And you can look at Trayvon Walker and break it down that did he get enough consistent pressure week in, week out? The sack numbers were there.
Right.
And it was a good step forward for him. There's no question about it. But there was nothing else you had to worry about as an opposing team.
That should only help the other 2 too, right? Like if Armstead should help Trayvon and Josh, the whole thing.
If now you got to throw a double team at a defensive tackle, which they really didn't have anybody compelling them to do that last year.
Right.
On occasion, now you're going to get more singled up options on the outside, whether that's, Travis Gibson off the bench or Trayvon or whomever. If you were to add a piece on the offensive line.
On the offensive line?
On the offense, just at whatever position or whatever. Let's say the Jags said, we just need another option here. What position on the offensive line would you most like to see fortified? Is it right guard? Because you mentioned, Sheriff getting up there in years.
Maybe guard because we haven't seen Cooper Hodges do it yet. And again, some of what they did in the offseason at those spots was predicated by, if you believe in a kid like Cooper Hodges, you can't always go out and sign free agents.
Because we always want to talk about draft and develop, right?
Right. So if a team's going to believe in that, then that's what they have to believe in those spots. So I don't know that I would add anything there because you believe in the kid and you want to give him a chance to be that swing guy. They went out and got Shatley to possibly come back and be the swing guy again. So I don't know that I would go add, but I do want to see what that looks like once they get started.
Right. I don't personally feel like the Jags are even thinking about adding on the offensive line right now. Like they invested in center and left guard.
Yeah, I think that's what they've done.
Right. They've got 4 offensive tackles that who knows if Foster can play at this level, but you got 3 certainly that can play at an NFL level, and you're hoping Brandon Sheriff stays healthy, and you hope, if that's the case, that you are going to develop Cooper Hodges as the guy to take his place, to lower that cap figure next year and move on. All right, Dylan, before we hit the break, why don't we take a quick look around the rest of the NFL?
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
All right, just a few quick stories here. One, former Jaguar Tashawn Gibson, and maybe in an effort to make himself a little bit healthier or more viable for NFL teams, was suspended 6 games for PED usage. So going to be a while before we see him out on the football field again. Tom Brady went on the Pivot podcast. Who doesn't go on the Pivot podcast and talked about one of his biggest regrets from his NFL career, and that was he felt like he took things too seriously. Like, obviously, you got to take things seriously to a high degree, but just talked about how he didn't really necessarily enjoy it as much as he could have looking back. You look at Mahomes running around out there with a huge smile on his face, and also talked about how devastating it was in 2007. That was going to be the undisputed, we are the greatest team in history. This validates everything of this era. And what losing that Super Bowl, how it was probably more gut-wrenching than any joy he got out of any one Super Bowl victory. So that was happening. And then you got this going for you. The designer of the Jets throwback logo is suing the team, saying that they owe him a bunch of money. The franchise says the claim is baseless and without merit. So, John, I'll use this opportunity to ask you, will we see Jacksonville Jaguar throwback unis to the 1990s anytime soon?
Oh, it's certainly been hinted at.
It has been hinted at.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Okay, that's Johnny O going, I am a company man. I cannot tell you this, but I feel like 9 of your 10 toes are across the line on that.
Well,
is that fair to say?
I think we've done a nice job teasing that.
All right. Well, people are tired of being teased.
Right. Well,
at least that's what I hear out there. Anyway, all right, let's come back. Let's dig a little deeper into today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day, which we're just discussing. Corner, edge rush, offensive line, or is it something else that you'd like to see the Jags reinforce as we head into training camp? Mike Dempsey, Johnny O, Dylan Denmark here with you. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 weight loss. You know what? Just pigged out yesterday. Absolutely destroyed it and had no fear that I was going to go off schedule because I have cheat days worked in. Awaken 180 is amazing. They'll work around the holidays for you. You have no fear of July 4th coming up. Maybe you took advantage of the Lose 40 by the 4th deal that we were offering. You know what? If you didn't, it's okay. Lose it at your own pace whenever you want. It's never too late to start. Maybe you had a New Year's resolution that this is the year you're going to drop weight. Well, it's not too late. Awaken 180 has had over 21,000 satisfied customers, a 98% satisfaction rating over the years. Count me among them. Lost my weight last September, hit my goal weight, then it's free support and coaching for life. That includes getting you through those big cookout days like we had yesterday around 1010XL. You want to be the next success story with Awaken 180, call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, or schedule a free consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday.
On Jaguars Today, Jaguars and Gators. Gators and Jaguars. Jacksonville's home sweet home of the Jaguars and Gators.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
What's more American than grilling out for the 4th of July? Check out southernsteerbutcher.com or our social media channels for all of our 4th of July specials running June 29th through July 7th.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark tonight at 6:05. Don't miss our Independence Day celebration with the biggest fireworks show of the year and free patriotic hats to the first 2,000 fans. All presented by Nimnicht Family of Dealerships. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. That's JackShrimp.com. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
Moms and dads looking for some serious summer fun for your kids? Then check out I-9 Sports Flag Football Tournament Series. It'll run through June and July, and you can put a team together and join in on the action. Ages 4 to 14. Go to i9sports.com for all the details. It's happening at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows at their brand new turf facility. If you've got a youth flag football team or want to put one together, get ready for the I-9 Sports Flag Football Tournament Series this summer. Check it out at i9sports.com.
Hey folks, Hicken here for Zero Res. You and I know Zero Res loves cleaning carpets in your home. But did you know Zero Res can also clean the carpets where you work? Take a look at the floors where you work, and if they need cleaning, suggest to the boss they call Zero Res. For the month of July, Zero Res offering 20% off all commercial carpet cleaning. Call Zero Res, and they'll come out and give you a free estimate on what it will take to get the job done. Zero Res, man, you spell it forward. Zero Res, you spell it backwards. Zero Res, it's the right way to clean.
Fish are good at hiding. Captain Kevin can help you find them.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Find more fish on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
Thursday nights at 6.
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss on 1010XL AM.
Who's the only person to walk in space and also visit the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean?
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
NASA astronaut Catherine Sullivan is the only person so far who has spacewalked and has traveled to the Mariana Trench.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our returning champion, a basketball court sweat mopper from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Lewis Cramp.
Great to be back, Merv.
There's only one category left on the board, Lewis. People you can trust to repair your air conditioner. Your 10 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm pretty handy with tools around. Right, so my Uncle Steve used to fix transmissions, so maybe he could... Okay, sorry. I guess just call the guys at Bueller?
That's right, Lewis. The highly trained technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing have the tools and the experience to service any make and model of home air conditioner to make sure that you are cool.
You sure I can't just have a quick...
Yeah, we're done for today.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
At Hidden Hills Golf Club, we truly love the game of golf. We invite you to book your next tee time here and enjoy a golfing experience that you might not find at other public facilities. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Find your why and your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Nobody knows the Jags like Johnny O.
Oh Knows. Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
On 1010XL.
You sliding into somebody's DMs over there? What you got going on? Anything good?
No, just checking my bank account.
Checking your bank account.
So it's not good.
Growing by the minute.
Right. Yeah, it really is.
Wow. All right. Hey, we are. I'm short timer here. We're under 15 minutes. We get out of here. Fat Tony's assignment
question
ends.
For you.
Yes.
What's better, vacation or the day right before vacation? Because you're having a great day. The anticipation of it.
Right, but the vacation, it's a blend because vacation starts today. Okay. Like, would yesterday be the day before vacation?
Well, no, just like the day
it's pretty good when you got the whole thing stretched out in front of you.
Right.
Right. But so
yeah, because today really in vacation because you're getting paid.
Yeah,
for
that's
today.
fine. I'm not on vacation.
You're like a little kid in school, right?
Tomorrow, we talked about that. Like nothing worse than the teacher on the last day of school who throws like a pop quiz at you.
Yeah,
like just to be a jerk, kind of thing. I get it if you're in finals week, something like that.
Right, but when you're in ninth grade.
When did the cupcake party stop? That's what I want to know. Like when you're a kid, it's like, hey, it's the last day of school. We're gonna put on funny hats and eat cupcakes. What year did that stop? No, I'm talking about like what year of like, is it fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, that kind of thing? I think they still do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, for me, it was elementary school. When I was over at St. Andrews Episcopal Day School, we did all that. And then once I got to the big leagues.
The big leagues
were
they shut it
Episcopal
down.
Back in the day.
They had enough.
Over on Atlantic.
I know PFT is like, garbage in people's minds right now, but this has nothing to do with the Jags. This is a list of players who potentially are holding out a training camp. You think not many holdouts anymore. It used to be rookies, didn't get their deals done. Well, now the rookie wage scale. And then it became, well, these fines are not forgivable, but they are if you're still in your rookie contract, right? So you can't guy like CeeDee Lamb he's playing on the 5th-year option potentially this year. If the Cowboys decide to waive any fines, they can do it with him. Just a partial list of the players who may not show up for training camp. Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill. I think they should both take September off at the very least for the Miami Dolphins. Matt Judon, Patriots linebacker. Hassan Reddick, who wanted a new contract with Philly. The Jets traded for him knowing that with the intention to not give him one, and he's basically skipped their entire offseason.
Right.
So good luck with that, I suppose. Jamar Chase of the Bengals, making the case that, should have paid him at the same time that Justin Jefferson got his deal. Amari Cooper with the Browns. Cortland Sutton with the Broncos. CeeDee Lamb, obviously. Micah Parsons, obviously. Who knows with Dak Prescott. Jordan Love. with the Packers, Tristan Wirfs, and, PFT's always making the case, you shouldn't show up, you should always hold out. That, so they're always pushing that narrative. But some of these guys, like Alvin Kamara, has talked about, like, I need security. How about all the millions you've already made in your career?
Right.
Where's that?
Right.
How does that factor into your security and the fact that you're going to make, let's say, $10 million this year?
What's his age, Kamara's?
He's pushing 30. Got to be right now.
As a running back coming into this league, you need to have your security by the time you're 30.
Well before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be, the old man yelling at clouds, but the agent, the representation needs to know with the running back, security's not going to happen after 30.
I can't tell you what Trent Baalke and company are going to do here with Travis Etienne, but it would shock me not at all if he plays on the fifth-year option and next year, as he's getting prepared to do that, the Jags draft a running back. Or maybe not even draft running. Maybe wait till the next year. Because you can draft that guy and plug him right in today's NFL. Can you pay your quarterback, your edge rusher, and some of the other guys they paid, and a running back on top of that? Joe Shane of the Giants yesterday was just talking about, look, man, we committed $40 million to Daniel Jones. We didn't do that so we could turn it around and give it to a $12 million running back.
Right.
Then if we're going to do that, don't pay the $40 million.
Yeah, you usually play out the option for Travis, and then you've got another a year on the tag if need be.
Possibly, right.
Because running back is one of the more affordable tags because for the most part, the top five, nothing's affordable in the NFL, but
top five's getting a little pricey though.
Yeah.
With the Barkley deal, the CMC getting a new deal.
But it still makes sense to do it for 1 year because the risk is
if you're in a championship window, certainly.
Yeah. So
and you got the cap space.
And that's just the nature of running backs. And I've actually talked to Travis about that before, and he gets it.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, if you're a running back, you probably shouldn't expect to spend most of your career with the same team.
Right.
It's just difficult to do. Nowadays. All right, let's take a look at today's question today. If the Jags were to add a veteran free agent before training camp, which position or group would you most like to see them add to? Dylan.
10-10 take. Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take. Brought to you by Leonard Truck Accessories.
Look, I totally get everybody who voted for offensive line because that was a big issue last year, right? I get it.
Yeah, but they're just not going to do anything.
I don't think they are either. But this isn't about what you think they're going to do necessarily. This is about what you would do. And I wonder for those people, like, what are you adding? That's why I asked you specifically. Right. Are you trying to push Brandon Sheriff out of the lineup? I don't think they are. And I think they want to see why give somebody $8 million or whatever if you think Cooper Hodges can handle it and you haven't really had the opportunity to find out. At a certain point, you have to develop these young players, right? Shad Khan talked about it recently. Like, we can't just be a free agency team on and on and on every single year. So I would not put that at the top of my list. I do understand the fear that they may not have done enough on the offensive line to improve it enough. And there's no way to know that until we put the pads on. And even then, there's really no way to know that until you take on the Miami Dolphins in September.
Right, but you're not going to go out and just right tackle. You're not going to – a left tackle, they've got two.
They got two at minimum.
Yeah.
You just signed your left guard, you signed your center.
And then you already went out and got Ezra Cleveland.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You signed your left guard.
So more, yeah. So, yeah, there's not that much to do.
I think that it's going to be hard for some of the guys who've made this roster in the past to make it on the offensive line. If you figure 10 is the max at what you're keeping. All right, so 27.4% went with offensive line. 31% went with cornerback. And I'm really tempted to join that group. Like, I don't think there's any harm. We talked yesterday, there's a piece at Pro Football Network like, hey, Adoree Jackson would be a good – and there are a lot of free agent corners out there that have played some high-level football. I do think they like the pieces that they have right now, and they don't envision a role for somebody coming in. But if you wait too long and some other team gets those injuries, all of a sudden, some of those guys dry up a little bit. So I get that. 39.4% going with edge rusher. And I don't know who that would be this year, but like this time last year, Jadeveon Clowney is sitting out there. And while he was never a huge sack guy, he was last year, and he definitely is a more imposing presence and a guy that offensive coordinators would have to pay more attention to than a lot of guys that you've got on this roster. And so for me, if it were that, I don't know I don't have a specific guy in mind, But going back to that model of 2017 where you had your two guys getting 12 to 15 sacks, all right? We hope that's what the Jags will have on the top end. Malik Jackson and Dante Fowler Jr. getting 8 apiece. Maybe they have that guy.
Right.
Do they have 2?
I would say that's a spot where in camp you get in pads, and then maybe play a preseason game and you get a feel for if you have a need there. And I think that's the route they would take. I would probably go edge rusher there.
Out of the options?
Out of those options.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think they're going into camp thinking that they need to do that.
Do you think, like, between now and the start of training camp, which is a few weeks away, are we going to see any other contract extensions, Tyson Campbell or anybody else? Do you think they're going to wait on him?
Tyson would be the one that's a possibility of big names. I'd be surprised if I see anybody else.
If Tyson doesn't get it, right? Like, you go into next year, Cisco could be a free agent. Tyson could be a free agent. You only have one franchise tag.
Right.
The franchise tag number for, like, I don't look at Tyson as a top 5 corner in the NFL.
No.
You know, he's got good potential, but he hasn't been that. It's going to be an interesting one to see. That's the one that's hanging out there, I think. I don't anticipate anything getting done, but I don't know what's cooking behind closed doors.
Yeah, I think with Tyson, there's a chance. Beyond that, I don't think they'll do anything before the season.
That includes Cisco. Like, and what's, you know, well established, Trent Baalke's not going to negotiate during the season. So, you know.
Yeah, I think that includes Andre.
I saw Bucky's piece over at NFL.com talking about breakout guys, and he expects Andre Cisco to be one of them. Devin Lloyd and Andre Cisco were both mentioned there. Of course, Bucky's closer to this situation than a lot of people.
Boy, and Devin Lloyd to me is he's the X factor from July 27th through mid-September. I think he's a huge storyline. If he plays to what he can, how much different is this defense?
Could he be a 6-sack guy? If, you know, utilized on, you know,
6-sack
sporadic blitzes and
just big plays, and you know, he's a linchpin on this defense.
They've got a lot of that. Like, you know, wouldn't be terrible to see a lot of these guys have career years. They're still young enough to think, hey, Devin Lloyd's best year is still somewhere out there in front of him.
Sure.
Could it be this year? Could it be, put it this way, could this year be the best year we've seen from him? I would hope that would be the case.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it'll be the best year he'll ever have.
Right.
You know? Foye, just keep doing what you're doing. How much? Somebody mentioned linebacker as a concerned position in terms of depth.
Yeah, I don't think they see it that way. Ventrell Miller is an interesting guy on that front, and they have Muma there. I think they go into this season wanting to see what Ventrell Miller can do.
Another guy that right now, if you were to say, what do you count on from Ventrell Miller? Well, nothing.
Right, you can't count. But,
but the potential.
But he's why I think you don't go out and sign a 4th-year guy. You don't go out and sign a 5th-year Ventrell Miller from somebody else's team when you've already got one on the team.
And you haven't yet seen what he can give you.
Right.
Now, I think the biggest thing now, between now and September, just can this team stay healthy?
Stay healthy.
Right. We've had some late training camp injuries in recent years, and let's hope that's not the case this time around.
Fingers crossed.
So what do you got cooking over at Jaguars.com other than the mailbag? Anything juicy?
The mailbag will be it for this week, certainly. And then next week, we'll start it back up with our preseason final analysis, which is where we sort of go around the team for 6-7 days, touching on hot button issues with luminaries such as Jeff Lageman, myself, and even
the crew. Yes, we know the crew. All right, Dylan, let's wrap this bad boy up.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
All right, for me, kind of the theme of the show today. Look, the Jags could probably add some reinforcements here, but at the same time, you do want to draft and develop, or you want to at least see what you've got in some of the guys that you brought in, John. And we may not even know that through training camp. Like, you know, maybe we'll see Travis Gibson flash. Maybe you won't, because teams play things so vanilla in the preseason. Has this organization done enough to improve the roster? The proof will be in the win-loss column, and ultimately what they do in the postseason.
Yeah, I think they believe that if they thought there was more needed to do, they would have already done it.
Because they've managed a cap well enough that they've got the flexibility. And that's something, too, that, hey, if something does come up in training camp, injury-wise or anything else, or lack of performance, they've at least got the wherewithal to address it.
Yeah,
right
Trent also likes to have the room to make a move at the trade deadline if need be, and that's a while out. But that's also a factor. Maybe it doesn't happen during training camp, but it could happen during the first month or two of the season.
All right, Johnny O, have a good week next week.
You as well.
Thank you.
Enjoy
I appreciate
vacation.
it. Dylan Denmark, my salute to you, sir. Welcome Fat Tony back from assignment on Friday, and I hope not to hear from you unless it's talking about are we getting out on the links sometime in the next 11 days. So there you have it. All right.
Everybody be safe tomorrow.
Don't
be drinking and driving.
Don't be right. Enjoy to your heart's content. Like you said, don't get behind the wheel. Have a plan. If you're going to drink and be somewhere away from home, And
don't be near the fireworks.
Plenty of rideshare services. Yeah, be safe with the fire. Like, if you're going to blow your hand off, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. You just are, right? Yeah, like, it's very difficult to do that. So don't mix alcohol with your fireworks consumption if you can at all help it.
That's the theme of the show.
That kind of, look, I'd like to have all of you back and alive when I return from my staycation coming up. That'll do it for us today. Thanks to John Oehser. Of course, to Dylan Denmark. Great work in Tony's absence. Fat Tony will be back on Friday. I will not be. I will see you a week from next Monday, or at least talk to you a week from next Monday. Helmets and Heels coming your way next. Thanks to everybody for tuning in today. Have a great 4th of July holiday. This has been Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Happy holiday.